What is up, everyone? In today's episode, we talk about a brand new neighborhood that's almost like a master plan community within a master plan community. We talk about getting a mortgage and navigating that world if you're recently self-employed or transitioning professions. I mentioned 3 unique restaurants around downtown Sarasota that you should try and probably have not heard of. I think it's going to be a good one. Please stick around and let's get rolling. Hello everybody and welcome back to the Florida Relocation Guide. I am your host Adam Hancock and this is episode 11, I believe, of our Q&A series weekly, where we take real client questions from people just like you and I'm able to answer them in a little bit deeper, more contextual format. I'm able to bring in kind of guest cohorts to mix it up and subject matter expertise, etc. So I think this is going to be a good one. I hope it adds you some extra value and let's hop in.
What's the deal with the Star Farms place? I keep hearing so many mixed thoughts from different folks.
Okay, first let me tell you what this is, and then I will give you my general thoughts on what it means and maybe how to think about it. So if you're familiar with Lakewood Ranch or not at all, locationally this one is, go reverse here on camera, is northeast of State Road 70. So it goes University 70, 64, northeast of State Road 70, east of Lorraine, and it's right next to basically Esplanade Azario, above like Crestwind and Sweetwater, that area. So pretty far east in Lakewood Ranch. Development-wise, it's built by Four-Star. So what's interesting here, for multiple facets we're going to get into here, but Four-Star is a subsidiary that's majorly owned by D.R. Horton. And in a macro sense, you're going to have a mix of about 1,500 total homes, which I think is about the size of Azario. Single family, you're going to have villas, and you're going to have townhomes. Okay, and builder-wise, you have a kind of wild mix here. D.R. Horton has a lot going on. They're a very large company. So you have D.R. Horton itself, which is like its own brand. You have Emerald Homes, which they built Toscana Isles, and that's D.R. Horton's luxury brand, so in relative terms to their own brand. So D.R. Horton Luxury. And then you have Freedom Homes, which is it's like active, maintenance-free. It's more turnkey, pared-down, active, older adult homes is how they position it. And then the unique mix to this market is then you add John Cannon, which is a custom builder, which they don't usually develop the land, they buy into it. You have Arthur Ruttenberg, the same, and you have Lee Weatherington. So you have 3 custom guys around D.R. Horton, which is something that is atypical for what has traditionally been done with the pairing of these specific builders. Okay, and then kind of just a catch-all other bucket. This whole piece of land, it's a large piece of land, and that's why I say master plan within a master plan, is it's built on an old Florida ranch. And they have these 4 neighborhoods in essence. And they're going for all kinds of different things along the spectrum. And then there's a ton of amenities in here. We'll show a lot of them here. But and then they, depending on the neighborhoods, and some have access to all of them, some have access to some of them. So it's this kind of colliding, cohesive, large area, but technically does have separate communities within it.
I know Sarasota is an atypical real estate market, but I'm curious of the typical seasonality to both sales and inventory on an annual basis. Any info would be awesome.
Okay, so I built kind of a quick and dirty visualization trying to get my head around this, and that's what I'm going to share with you here now. So what we basically have here is I went back 5 years, including the current year. And the green here is within an individual year, the green is the top 4 individual months on a percentage basis of the whole thing, which is 100% of the total sales units. So this is sold homes, sold closed homes. The red is the bottom 4 months in the same vein. So, it's interesting. I talk about the seasonality being so different in Sarasota and all around all the time, and this really shows it, So very clearly, the end of Q2 and the last month of Q1 is responsible for nearly 40% of the volume year over year over year over year. But a lot of it's just natural movement. It's people gearing up and then closing, gearing up and then closing. And then you can see obviously the COVID year, really crazy here, the kind of recovery here, and it's moving here. And then, from 2017 to 2021, 22, whatever, 33% in units closed, which makes sense. But not incredible amount of seasonality here. It's just a different market in that respect. So if you went to quarters here, you can kind of see, it's not material. It really isn't. It's not that crazy because it's not like there's a trillion units selling. So 6 percentage points isn't a gross amount of different inventory. So to me, this is like really based, aside from the current market, of the weirdness and the interest rates and people waiting to the end of the year to see what happens in this kind of thing. Waiting for some potential landfall based on, because people say wild, like a lot of local realtors are just saying wild things about like summer's terrible every year and no one buys in January and all this stuff. And I think people wait for some landfall of inventory. Again, aside from the weird current months we're in now. I would say this tells me that it's personal based. It's your personal situation. If you're ready to go, go. If you're not ready to go, don't. You should have an equal, in perspective, opportunity throughout the year, but I would base on what is best for you and your family.
We are visiting Sarasota again next month, staying around downtown. What are 3 restaurants you would recommend that we probably haven't tried?
Well, since in a very timely manner I am actually strolling the streets of downtown Sarasota as we speak, I think it would be more appropriate to do this in person. Okay, the first one on my list is definitely a goodie. I'm standing in front of here is a place called Indigenous. And it's basically, I would say not just highly rated for Sarasota, but really the United States as a whole. It's been Zagat rated several times. It's seasonal American fare technically. But what's really cool in my mind is the real heavy focus on sustainable fresh seafood, basically. So local artisans, a lot of purity there. And then where it's located here, if you can kind of tell from cinematic mode, but where it's located here is in a place called Towles Court, which is like a Burns Court and a Laurel Park. It's a heavy downtown Sarasota historic district. So it's really all the trappings of what you'd want from a setting and an aesthetic while visiting this style restaurant. It's kind of like a neighborhood joint, in my mind, kind of like a lot of places you see in different kinds of cities. But if this one is not on your list, I would definitely add it. Okay, I'm kind of backing my way into the next one here, called Melange. So what you have here is you kind of have a lackluster aesthetic, as you can see here. I don't know if it shows on video. It's closed right now. It's 10:30 in the morning. But what you are is unbelievable location. So behind me here is the heart of Maine, Evie's, Lila, all these areas. And then you have Orange this way. So you're right in the heart of all of the main restaurant district in downtown Sarasota. Inside, though, sneaky underrated. So, and you might not even know it exists here if you're just kind of cruising by. So what I understand is you have an executive chef slash owner that travels a ton. So you have a very unique array of dishes inside. You have like rabbit tacos, you have duck spring rolls, you have Norwegian salmon, and then unbelievable cocktails within, which they take very uniquely serious. I'll show you here as a bonus. But all kind of mixed together, fused in this kind of just random storefront. And they call it Exploration of Food, Art, and Drink. And I think that is very telling of what it actually is. And I'm gonna hop around to the back here and show you even a little bonus that you might not be aware of. Okay, we skipped forward a minute and you may be asking yourself, Adam, why are you now walking through a somewhat dicey looking alleyway? Well, the reason is the cool thing about Melange is that it doesn't just end with the front. It is truly a party in the back. It sounds better than party in the rear is what I almost said. But they have basically this door behind me is called Pangea Alchemy Lab, which is their speakeasy version. It's high-end cocktails in a really unique way. It's in a European-style lounge, unbelievably cool aesthetic, and very just, if you're looking to mix it up, something different, then that whole thing exists in a very random place that you would never happen to come across randomly. So anyway, just wanted to mention that, and that rounds out this one. All right, and the third one I wanted to mention is another cool one, and it's called Sage. So Sage is located in the Theater District. It's very close to the Art Ovation Hotel, if you've ever stayed there. You have 2 things going on. You have a rooftop bar, which is one of 3 rooftop bars in addition to Art Ovation and the Westin. And you have a main restaurant. So it's international cuisine focused. I believe the chef, I heard, has like cooked in like 7 different countries, really renowned. Cocktails are off the charts at both the restaurant. The building itself, incredibly unique. So they restored a historic building. So it was actually designed, I think it was the Sarasota Times building, but it was actually designed by the same designer that did the Katazan, which was the residence of John and Mabel Ringling. That's still on site there as like a historical site to visit. But really unique overall, and super different than like the contemporary Miami aesthetic of the other 2 rooftop bars. So definitely worth checking out both for a cocktail and for a date night.
I've heard you can lock in a mortgage rate when buying a new construction home. Can you tell me a bit more about that?
Okay, this one's really interesting and kind of an insider thing, and this is a moving target, could be variable, could come and go, it could be builder specific. But an exact situation that happened very recently, and it's interesting for multiple reasons. Basically, I have a mortgage lender buddy that was building a home with, I think it was MI, and they built all over Sarasota, Manatee. And obviously a mortgage lender would lean towards probably doing something himself, right? For the most part, because then if the incentives aren't super high, easier to control and replicate something on their own. So that even gives more credence to this. But basically, the folks offered him a 9-month rate lock. We're in the current market where you could stop the bleeding at 5.5, and if you think it's going to go to 8, then it could even mess up your affordability. It becomes a little interesting. And all it took to do that was a 0.5 point addition, and then I think it was $1,000 more down. But that's all it took to lock in for 9 months, which I thought was pretty incredible. They took the 60-day rate from basically today and just locked for 9. So I think, maybe things go down, maybe they don't, but I think locking in the 5s with the potential where it could go, I mean, it could alter your payment by several $100s a month. So anyway, I wanted to mention that. What's funny was it wasn't on the table. It wasn't offered to them, nothing. He had a friend that dug and was hounding people and found out that he could do it. And then he used that friend to basically get himself the same deal. But anyway, it's something that if you're in the process and you're in that stage, now everywhere might not offer. It might be MI specific, it might change, they might get rid of the program, but it would be something worth asking, because what if it is true at Neal or Taylor Morrison or somewhere else at a given time, then it could help a certain amount of folks. So anyway, I wanted to mention that.
Can you give a 3-minute beach guide to Sarasota for the resident newbie?
Okay, I'll probably do a full video on this that's a little deeper because I don't really have a 3-minute version in me and my personality, but I'll do a speed round. So you have 5 things going on here. Englewood, Venice, Siesta Key, you have Longboat Key, and you have Anna Maria Island, Holmes area. Englewood is the southernmost tip, drops into Cape Coral, and then to Fort Myers Beach is your next closest one. You have a junior version and a cheaper version and a quieter version of Sarasota and Venice. You have some secluded areas like Stump Pass and Minnesota Key Beach, etc. Venice has 3 beaches going on around an island, and it's Venice Beach is the main beach. Casperson Beach is the shark's tooth capital of the world, rocks in the water, dune-esque. People go there to search for shark's teeth. You have Brohard Beach in between, which is the only dog beach in town. Venice Beach is not a barrier island. You can see island, 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 island. Mainland and the beach are the same. That means that the beach feels incredibly closer to the downtown than anywhere else. It's very coastal, laid back, and more historical version of Siesta Key. Siesta Key, barrier island. You have Nokomis Beach in between, but Siesta Key, barrier island. It's 8 miles end to end. Turtle Beach at the southernmost tip. It is not as nice of a beach, a little bit of a drop off. Good place to fish, less people around. Cool place to live residentially. In the middle of the island is Crescent Beach, right by Stickney Point Bridge. That is the same sand as Siesta Key, only 1 parking lot in and out if you don't walk to it. And a lot more people are going there if they're staying on the actual beach in a hotel. Siesta Key Beach and the village is all on the north of the island. The main beach, the main parking lot, and the shopping district all sit right here, 6 miles one way to downtown where we stand here. Hop here, this is Lido and Longboat Key. So Lido sits by St. Armand Circle Shopping District. That is a bougier version of Siesta Key Village, much larger, designed by John Ringling. It's very lovely. The beach itself is relatively small, good locals beach, easy in and out, 2 parking lots. Longboat Key is 1 mile less than Siesta Key. I think it's 7 miles versus 8. There are 11 to 12 accesses, I believe. They're all very private, or they're public accesses, but there's no big parking lot, basically. You're shooting in and out of little accesses. And so in its nature, it's going to be incredibly more residential and incredibly quieter as far as if you like that style. You hop up here, and in a nutshell, you have Coquina Beach, huge parking lot. It's right by the pass. They do a little art shows and festivals and that kind of thing there. It's a lovely looking area. And then you have Bradenton Beach, you have Holmes, and you have Anna Maria. Anna Maria is very eclectic, great vacation spot. It's very northern, the northernmost tip we have here, but it's more similar to Siesta Key and Venice than it is to Longboat Key. It's a good vacation spot. It's a cool place to live too, but you got to like the location because of how far you are. You're 45 minutes one way to the next downtown, Sarasota based. But that covers what I think is important in a quick version.
What's a good option if I work in downtown St. Pete but really want more of a suburban setting and maybe a new construction home.
Okay, I like this one because it seems simple, but it's sneakily hard to solve. And this recommendation could seem awkward, but hopefully it makes a little bit more sense when I articulate here a bit. So a lot of people end up in, I would say most people in my experience end up in St. Pete as a very intentional choice. Yes, they want to work there as well because it's close, but a lot of them do it for the living. The downtown's very unique. People are romantic about bungalows and front porch living, historical neighborhoods. It's very communal in an urban way. The best parts of St. Pete are all historic: Old Northeast, Coffee Pot Bayou, Woodlawn, St. Paul Euclid, etc. They're all right clustered above downtown for the most part. But what if you end up in St. Pete for economic reasons, or you started in St. Pete at 22, 28, you have one kid, another kid on the way, and you're looking for what suburbs have to offer in space, amenities, etc. And you still are in St. Pete for work, and you're not work from home yet. Parish, I think, is a rather interesting choice. We've been seeing a ton of people do this. So what Parish is typically people start in Lakewood and go that way. And you don't really talk about St. Pete to Parish that much, but if you look at it where it sits on a map, it's 28 miles one way to downtown St. Pete. It's 45 minutes one way to downtown, or to the Tampa airport. And what they have to offer is one of the most affordable suburbs in the current market. It's very growing. It was all farmland. They're really expanding it. You have Twin Rivers, you have Canoe Creek, you have a lot of areas, and they offer an interesting choice because people view it as a downgrade to Sarasota because it's east. To St. Pete, it could be an upgrade on suburban housing. So one person's trash is your treasure kind of situation. So anyway, I don't want to get too crazy on this point here, but I did want to mention, really take a look at that on a map, really test that out if you're local, and see if that may be a good solution for you.
Say I am a small business owner that doesn't show a lot of income or just quit my W-2 job and started as a contractor. Is there any way I could still buy a primary or investment home?
Yes, so another big piece of the puzzle, people that are, say, 100% commission employee, or they changed jobs or started a new business, opened up a new business. For us to be able to do a traditional financing on a conventional loan, or even FHA for that matter, you need 2 years. It's a 24-month average, whether you're variable income, commission-based, or self-employed. Say hypothetically you're looking for an investment property. I have a product it's called Investor Solution, and it's no income and no doc. It's actually just based on appraisal. We can do up to 80%, 85% loan to value on that, so it's 15% down. And I've done a few of them already. The product just got rolled out in January 1 of this year, and it's fantastic. It really is. Interest rates are a little bit higher, but if it's investment property, obviously you factor all that in to your return on investment and goes right to your bottom line. And it's a very, very simple product. Very simple product. Based on appraisal and what the investment would be.
All right, folks, that does it for this one. I hope it added you some value. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe if it did. I hope you enjoyed the little bit different scenery. And don't forget to leave any questions that you have on your mind or any thoughts, anything you want to know at all in the comments below, and I'll try to get to them next week. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.